I'd like to show you in this demonstration a quick way to achieve moldings or crown moldings for your architecture. If you're doing an interior or an exterior, this is an effective way to get a jump start on that. There are a couple of ways I'd like to show you how to do that. The first is by creating a line. We're going to go into the Create panel. Let's just give us a little bit more room there. Create panel and Geometry, and we're going to get the Standard Primitives. Excuse me, this is what we want, the Shapes tab. We want to grab a line, and I'm going to go in my top-down view, and I'm just going to if you have a specific type of molding that you would like to capture, you go ahead and put an image plane in there and copy that. What I'm doing is just plotting out the points, and you can see that if I click and drag slightly, that creates a Bezier knot, and that's a quick way of just determining that that is a Bezier knot that you can edit. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. As you can see, I'm kind of plotting out what may become a molding, the profile view of a molding, and I'm going to enclose that. It's going to ask if you want to close this line, just say yes, and from that we can go to the Create panel and access the sub-objects, vertices, segments, and splines. I usually work with the verts. You can come back in here, and if I select on that, you can see it has a Bezier handle. If I select on this one, it does not. But if you do want to create or reorder that to a Bezier, you right click on it, and then you can just select it, and it will bring up the handles. So for this one, it's inset just a little bit too far. So I'm going to pull that out a little bit and get a nice Bezier turn on that. I really don't need this knot. So I'm just going to delete it out of there. On this one, I want a little bit more topology there. I'm going to keep this knot because I like this tight turn in here. And from this profile, we can go ahead and create our crown molding. I'm just going to duplicate that shape so I can show you a different way to do this in just a moment. But this is probably the quickest way to achieve a crown molding. From the stack, you click on the top, and then you select a modifier called Extrude. And you can see it extruded that right up. You can set the amount of extrusion that you want, but you can see that now you've got the beginnings of a nice piece of crown molding. You don't need the end cap or the start cap likely, but if you do, you can create those in there as well. You can see that it's an end gun, so you'll have to go in and determine how to break that up into quads if you need to later on. So segments, you can control the number of segments that you create. If it's a long piece of molding extending the complete length of a building face, you may want to put a couple more segments in there. But if it's just a short piece, like over a door post, an additional feature over a doorpost, you just want to leave it as few polygons as possible. And this is pretty intense in here for the number of polygons. You can control that by simplifying it a bit if you need to, but if it is a primary area for your character and its eye level, you want to have to create something with a little bit more silhouette there. So there you go, and you can use that how you will. The next method of extrusion I'd like to talk about is if you have a nice arch, doorway, or something with a big arch that you need lots of definition, silhouette in the doorway there. You can do that by creating a spline to start with. And I'll just knot out a couple of knots here, and then go back just like we did before, grab a vert, and you could pull that out, make a nice, you can see that it's lopsided. We don't really like that. So what we're going to do is go back in and just edit that, move it, make it what you want it to be. Now these are arching out just a little bit. You might not like that. It's probably going to add to your poly count considerably. So you can select those, turn them into Bezier, and rotate those in order to get a nice straight version of that. Can extrude that, pull that up a little bit more, grab that handle, and being wonky on me. So, alright, enough of that. So I'll just go ahead and show you how to create that. Once you get that the way that you want it, you can select on either the path, the spline, or the object that you want to extrude. I'm going to push G to get rid of my grid at this point so you can see it a little bit better. And what I'm going to do is go to the Create panel, Geometry, and I'm going to go to Compound Objects. And here you can see a loft button. Click on the loft and it will ask you to either get a path or get a shape. The spline is the path, the shape is what we created that we want our to follow our path. So I have the path selected, so I'll say get shape, click on that, and go out here and click on my shape, and it will extrude that along that path. As you can see, it's going to give you a nice arched doorway. Now, once this is created, you can go in here and edit that a little bit more. You can smooth the length and the widths. You can apply mapping, which I highly recommend on an object like this. It makes it a lot easier to map it. And if you go to the Modify panel, you can also see that it will allow you to continue to make modifications. You can autosave on. You can path steps you can increase. You can increase the quality of the shape. Ooh, that's way too heavy. And you can see that you can get a pretty good solution for what you're trying to achieve there. The suggestion that I would make is to go light on the number of knots that you set out for your shape, and allow yourself, if you have an archway, allow yourself to put more polygons in the arch so that it does not look so angular at the top. Now on the sides here you can modify your path so that you can get nice straight up and down lines, so that you can just make this one long polygon and then use all your polygons up here in the arch. So those are two ways that you can begin to create moldings for your architecture.